Hi everyone, welcome to our 5-minute video blog. And today we finally managed to nail down Sherry, one of the hardest working members of the team and impossible to get a hold of, although I think that's slightly, probably deliberately as well. How are you, Sherry?
I'm
You've had a
good,
busy
Dan.
morning.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So we do these video blogs just as a bit of an updates and give our clients and others a chance to listen to what's current. And so today we're just going to have a quick chat about the thing, Sherry, that's been dominating the airways has been this immigration review that the new Labor government has announced, and they've made a big thing about the review. It's led by Dr. Martin Parkinson. Uh, Marty Parkinson was my branch head when I was in Treasury in Canberra many years ago as an economist. And so we know him quite well. He's a very analytical guy. He's very smart. And he's leading the review into the Australian immigration system, which would be quite interesting. Anyway, one of
Dad, I can't hear you. Dan, we can't hear you.
the
Okay. Dan, you're cutting in
okay, sorry,
between.
no, a call came in over the top. Am I?
You were
Can you hear
cutting
my
in
voice?
between. Yes, now I can hear you.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, no, that was a call that came through. I'll have to learn how to turn that off. Uh, Tismet, that is the Tismet is the temporary income
Temporary income threshold for
threshold.
the subclass
That's
482 visas.
482. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And is it still at 53,900?
Yes, at the moment it is currently at 53,900 for anyone who
Mm,
is applying for a subclass 482 visa. Yep, that's right.
yeah.
Mm.
Mm.
And
So it's been at 53,900 for quite a while, I think, hasn't it? Like,
yes, it has been quite a while. I would say since 2000 and probably since 2016 or even before that.
mm,
But yes, the latest review by the Labour government, they are thinking of increasing the threshold now.
yes, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the, how does because I mean, the Tismet has almost lost its relevance, I think, because we now have to demonstrate what the market salary is.
Hmm.
So we have to demonstrate for any of the 482 positions, what is an Australian getting paid in the same location, doing the same job with the same experience, right?
Yep, yep. So, yes, there is a threshold set by the department at 53,900. However, you still need to
Mm,
meet the Australian market salary rate. And the way
mm,
to check that and the way to check that is whether we go through the job outlooks, remuneration surveys, industrial awards, whatever the business has been looking into to confirm or to propose the salary that they are proposing to the overseas workers. They have to
mm,
make sure that the Australians or the overseas workers are not underpaid in any way than what the
mm.
Australian equivalent would be paid. So,
Yes.
apart from the TISMIT, the Australian market salary rate has to be met for the purpose of the subclass 482 nomination.
Yeah, that's
Mm.
right. How many of our clients have people who on the 482 who are around about the Tismet? Just as I mean, I don't come across a lot, to be honest. In your client base, do you see a lot?
I do see some of the occupations, especially the hospitality industry, which might
Mm,
be falling just above the TISMIT level.
that's true.
However,
Hospitality is a hot one. Yeah,
mm,
that's true.
yeah.
Mm,
However, the ones dealing in mining, oil and industry, engineering occupations, or healthcare occupations, those occupations are above the TISMIT level. But
mm,
sometimes we do have the challenge of still meeting the market salary rates for them,
yeah,
where we advise the employers what to do in those situations, how they can
yes,
make sure that they are meeting the requirements for the threshold plus the market salary rate to get their 482s through.
yeah. So the market salary rate is then quite a bit higher than the Tismet usually. I mean,
Yes, yes, they
mm,
are. The other challenge is most of these websites, job websites, now they have stopped publishing the salary rates as well. Not
That's
sure whether
right.
that is deliberate or it's just normal thing for the businesses no longer to
Mm,
advertise, and that is why it is becoming harder for us to find or the employers as well to find the market salary rates that
mm.
they can do the equivalent for their visa applicants as well.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's
Mm,
true. The other thing they're making a big deal of, Sherry, is worker exploitation, migrant worker exploitation.
mm,
It's all through the papers in the terms of reference. The Labor government saying, "Listen, we really got to stop migrant worker
mm,
exploitation." And you know what? I've got to tell you, in the 18 plus years that I've been doing this, I have, I don't think I could point to one instance where
mm,
we can actually say that, any of the workers that we've brought in or the people that we've done visas for have been exploited.
mm,
Um, but it is very high on the agenda for the review and for the government. I
mm,
mean, have you, in your experience, have you seen much in the way of worker
mm.
exploitation? Because I find that most employers want to do the right thing. In fact, quite often they want to do too much.
Mm. You're right,
Yeah.
Dan, but I do actually occasionally, maybe once in 6 months, I will come across an inquiry where the employers um, would have um, would have proposed a lower salary,
Mm,
but once we've advised them the right thing and warned them about their sponsorship obligations and all that, and how in future it can impact their sponsorships as well if they are not doing the right thing, most of them
mm,
have been, yes, most of them have been, I would say, been compliant, and they want to do the right thing. You're right, and I believe also where they do not want to do the right thing, I don't think VSA would take that on, and we don't want
Yeah,
to hear from them.
100%. No, no,
Mm,
we wouldn't do that. Yeah. But I also think you're pointing to something that's slightly different because I remember I went and saw a client here in Sydney, and a very large printer.
mm,
Um, and in that industry, for those occupations, many of the people were getting paid below 53,900.
mm,
And that's just because that's what, and none of them are sponsored workers.
mm,
So that's only because in that industry, for what they do, that's the
mm.
pay rate.
That's
And
exactly
so
right.
as a result, unless they can be paying above the Tismet, then they can't get access to the system. And I
Yes.
think, any move to move the Tismet higher
Mm,
will push more industries and more occupations below the line,
mm.
which will make it more difficult for people to get access to the 482 because not everyone works in the mining industry. Not everyone
That's
is
true.
earning, 140, 150,000 fly in,
Mm,
fly out.
yeah.
Um,
S-
so,
Yeah, that's a good point. Because some of the occupations,
uh,
even in the carer industry, those occupations are paid according to the award rates, and award rates are
mm,
below the TISMIT as well. So,
mm,
yeah, that is another area where it's not that the employer is paying them less for some reason, but it's just the rates in that industry are lower than the TISMIT, and that can
yeah.
be a challenge as well. Um, but in
Mm.
that regards, sometimes, yeah, they have to be negotiated as well with the department, and that's something that you could do under the Dharma or the labor agreement,
Mhm.
sort of negotiations. But yes, those salary negotiations can be really hard as well. Mm,
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's
mm,
why the department's aware that if you want to get something below the Tismet, you can negotiate it
mm,
under a Dharma and under or a labour agreement.
mm.
But I think they're shuddering at that thought because
Yes,
the labour market, the labour agreement seems very small, and they're
yes,
already inundated with agreements.
I know.
And I think the standard waiting time for a labour agreement would blow out from 6 months to probably 18 months
18,
because it's just going to take too long.
but that's
Because
gonna
the
kill the
more
whole
in,
purpose.
yeah, because you're pushing more and more industries and more occupations
Yeah,
down that pathway of getting a Dharma or getting a labour agreement. And a Dharma is just another form of labour agreement anyway.
yeah.
So, that is, yeah, that's really going to slow things up. So, yeah, I think the review has to think fairly carefully about that.
Mm.
But there's a fairly strong push for the Tismet to go up. So,
Yes, yes. And I think that's gonna be it's going to be hard for some industries. It's going to be okay, but for some industries, they are going to have a real challenge in finding the applicants to work or the employees to
Yeah.
work for them. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm.
Okay. All right, Sherry, lovely to chat. Hope everyone got some value out of that chat. It's always good to have a bit of a high-level discussion about what's going on. And yeah, we'll sign off. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you. Bye bye.